Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. It's 2:00. Notice hereby given Willacy County Commissioners Court would hold a special meeting at the County Judge's Office Commissioners Courtroom at 576 West Main Street in Railville, Texas 78580 on Monday, March 10th, 2025 at 2 p.m. for the purpose of discussing the following items. If during the course of the meeting, any discussion of any item on the agenda to be held in executive closed session, Willacy County Commissioners Court will convene in such executive closed session according to section 551.01 of the Texas Government Code. Should any final action, final decision, final vote be required in the opinion of the Willacy County Commissioners Court with regards to any matter considered in such closed or executive meeting or session, then the final decision or final vote should be either in the open meeting covered by the notice upon the reconvening of the public meeting, or at a subsequent meeting of the Willacy County Commissioners Court upon notice thereof as the government shall determine. So with that, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. Madam Chief Deputy Clerk, could you establish a quorum, please?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Precinct 1, absent. Commissioner Precinct 2,
Present.
Commissioner Precinct 3, absent. Commissioner Precinct 4,
Present.
I'm a county judge.
Present.
You do have one.
We go to, thank you. We go to line item number 3, discussion act to consider hiring RBPS to submit application in order to grant stipulations while in force. Action required. We do have Dr. Robles, Dr. Rodney H. Rodriguez, Rodney H. Rodriguez, the president of the company. And commissioners, what this is about is as you know, we visited the consideration of joining Operation Lone Star by declaring Willacy County an emergency declaration. Back then, I felt that there was not enough activity before us to be able to justify us doing that, along with other reasons. And so we revisit the idea upon the sheriff's request. We looked at it into more detail. He and others reached out to other counties that had joined, and we have had some conversations as to reconsidering us joining. And with us, we have Dr. Rodriguez that is doing several counties. You want to jump in and just elaborate a little bit what you're doing?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Judge, and thank you, Commissioners, for the opportunity to present you this afternoon. So since 2021, Operation Lone Star in the onset has been initiating really good results from illegal activity that has been happening through our border sections and our counties that are pretty much being impacted by these type of situations. And currently, I oversee Jim Hall County, LaSalle County, Brooks County, Zapata County, and most recently, I'm the grant writer for Stark County for fiscal year 26, since they're applying for funding as well. And RPBS has not only written grants, but also administered the grants. And we're really happy that this opportunity has presented itself because we have been working very closely with our neighboring counties in these county areas through Jim Hall County, which was the original onset of the county that had started the Operation Lone Star in this region. And basically what we've been doing is collaborating with counties for the areas of law enforcement, judicial services, and other, models that we've been implementing through Operation Lone Star. So we've been very successful. We have 100% percentage rating of all applications submitted to Operation Lone Star have been awarded. And basically, we're really excited about the opportunity to have Willacy County join. And again, I thank you for this opportunity for that reason.
So, Commissioners, what we have before us, is there any questions that you might have pertaining to the hiring of RBPS at this time. And just so you know, I had asked the sheriff, so that I'm sure, as you know, we as Commissioners Court are not in law enforcement. And so I just felt that it would be good for the sheriff to submit a formal letter to Commissioners Court as to why we need and how it would help by us joining. The other thing that has happened as well is that here most recently, the president did submit and declared the border an emergency situation, whereby he has now ordered the presence of our military. And so by that happening, I feel better doing emergency declaration in Willacy County, since we are considered a border county due to the proximity, especially through the waterways and the coast. So I have no problem signing that, and I have no problem since RBPS has other counties as well. Because one of the concerns that at least I have and have had in other grants as well is that we need to make sure that we keep up with the stipulations and guidelines and submit timely reports throughout the grants being enforced. Otherwise, we will lose out on monies that we're either waiting to be refunded or just monies that we owe, to be able to keep up with whatever the grant stipulates. So by hiring RBPS and has a track record specific to this grant, that we would be able to stay within those guidelines and comply. I would think it's week in, week out, or month in, month out, whatever the case might be. So my recommendation to you commissioners is that we approve hiring RBPS to apply for the grant and to overlook the grant while it's in force. That's my recommendation.
Just, I hadn't seen the contract just yet. I know Ms. also was looking it over. So there's a fee amount here, and that I recall is going to be totally reimbursable by the grant. Is that correct?
You wanna?
Yeah, you're on mute, sir.
If I may, Judge, so the initial fee that is listed on the contract, sir, is the initial fee that would be for the actual grant to be written and submitted on behalf of Willacy County. Anything after the grant is awarded, and that would be September 1st, those administrative costs can be reimbursed by the grant. But that fee is the initial upfront cost for the county.
And it's not reimbursed through the grant, correct?
No, because that is the initial startup for actually completing the grant to submit to the Office of the Governor. And then once the grant is awarded, any expenditures that are assumed after September 1st of 2025 through August 31st, 2026 are reimbursable expenses.
So what is that? That I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. It didn't look like it was going to be reimbursable. So basically, if we're turned down, that 20,000 investment would be lost. Is that correct?
Well, it wouldn't initially be lost because the grant itself, you're going to be able to apply for up to $5 million, and basically that would be the investment from Willacy County to acquire the grant.
I think the question is more as if the grant isn't awarded to Willacy County, that those 20,000 can't be recouped from a different
Oh,
source.
yes, that's correct. Yes, if the grant isn't awarded, that's the initial investment the county will pay.
But, it's a very good possibility we are gonna get awarded.
So our PBS has 100% track record of awards for all grants submitted.
The other thing, and I know we're under the gun in terms of time, right? As far as the what's required on the application, right? And you made it clear that the county judge, through the approval of Commissioners Court authorizing the county judge, I guess, to consider whatever is gonna be put in the application, right? For this first year.
That's correct.
Do you feel that there's enough time for you to submit something that makes sense? Do you have enough time to gather the information?
That's a great question, Judge. So through the resolution that will be developed through Willacy County, the Commissioners Court will grant authorization to the county judge to approve any and all expenses that are incurred through the grant when and if awarded. The other thing I just want to point out before I answer your question is that the county judge has the sole authorization for anything that pertains to the grant. Nothing can be submitted on behalf of the county without the judge's authorization, and he's the final primary individual that authorizes really all activities of the grant. So I just want to make that point. But to answer your question, Judge, yes, we have the expertise, we have the manpower to be able to submit this in 3 days. And so I feel very confident that if we move ahead, we would have to move quickly, but it isn't anything far-fetched for our PBS to be able to submit a competitive grant for consideration of award.
Judge, may I ask, just for clarification purposes, is this one of the grants that's going to be completely new, or is it like a renewal of their
It's a new grant.
a new grant? Okay.
Yes.
And they would be responsible for just applying for it, and the ongoing will still rely with the sheriff's department, like the reports, or is it something that they're gonna handle? And how about reimbursement as well?
Judge, if I may,
Sure.
those were a lot of questions, but I'm going to try to answer each one individually. So I believe it is a new grant for the county. I don't think Willacy County has ever applied for Operation Lone Star. Secondly, once the grant is awarded, the county will go out for procurement of administrative services for the grant, and that's through a competitive bidding process. Once Willacy County selects that individual or firm to administer the grant, then that individual will be responsible for reporting for the financial status reports that are submitted for reimbursement of expenses, for any communications with the Office of the Governor, and pretty much working with Willacy County to be able to operate the grant. The grant is also in conjunction with the county auditor's or treasurer's office, the county clerk's office, the actual county attorney, the sheriff's department, the judge's office. So there's a lot of moving parts with this grant, but that's at the point of administration once we have a plan of action to be able to manage the grant correctly. Did I answer all your questions, or is there still?
Yes, so basically it's just an initial, and then the county has to hire like a grant works or someone else to manage it and submit reimbursement for it.
Right, so, and then those costs will be eligible for reimbursement. Like, This is a reimbursement grant, so that means that say when you start September 1st through September 30th, you're going to incur expenses. You would submit the financial status report on October 1st to be eligible for reimbursement for September expenses. And then it goes on to October. You submit the financial status report in November for October reimbursement. So that's how this grant works.
The other part of discussion pertaining to that specifically was that we don't necessarily have to hire a company to administer it for us. In Jim Hogg's case, they actually either hired or gave those obligations to somebody from the auditor's office, and they get paid from the grant itself.
That's correct.
So that's another
Yes.
option
And
that we have.
And that's considered there's 4 key individuals in this grant. One is the authorized official. The second one is the financial officer and or auditor. The third is the program director, and that's what Judge just alluded to. Every county has a program director that your consultant works with hand on hand. And then fourth is your grant writer. And that would be me in this particular case. I'll be submitting my credentials if the Commissioner's Court decides to go with our PBS to be able to apply for this grant. And the process of an actual consultant being able to help the county is vetted through SAM.gov, and I put that in my contract just so you know. We have to adhere to all regulatory policies and procedures and IRS guidelines, and we have to be a credible organization for them to be able to award such contracts. So I just want to make sure you have that information, Judge and Commissioners, in your packet.
Yes, we do.
And I was gonna add, Judge, I think whenever they do that and they include the administration, I forgot what it was called right now, I just went blank, where the county does get a percentage for performing the work, but I think that's at inception when you apply for the grant. So whoever does request the grant has to make sure they include that, so that way the county can get a portion for working with the grant or doing the work for the grant, so it can be reimbursable.
Does the county have is it a 10% de minimis rate that you apply in the grant, or do you have a percentage that you charge that you've received through the state that you would charge for indirect rate?
No, most of our grants are handled by the department and the auditor's office, so it's not requested initially, but I'm saying if y'all would be computing that, or would y'all be requesting that if y'all do get approved to submit for application of this new grant, because it hasn't been done before.
Right. So in this particular grant, up to a 10% de minimis rate is allowed for indirect costs. So that in itself, the county can utilize for administrative services, which is generally what the counties utilize to pay their consultants or any individual doing the administrative services, but it's not the full 10%. But you can also charge your administration rate from that 10%. So that would be something that would have to be negotiated with the county.
And so okay, let me back up a little bit. So the maximum for this grant is $5 million a year, or
yes,
right? Okay,
a year.
And so the 10% is of what is awarded, not necessarily what the grant.
So the 10% is calculated based on a formula that's allowed through the grant management guide of the Public Service Office. And basically, it allows for you to calculate up to 10% of personnel and of travel, training, and the other one is operating expenses. So anything with equipment or contractual services are not allowed. So say you get the full 5 million, right? You can only apply that 10% to those budget line items, and then based off of that formula, you get the amount of the indirect cost.
Oh, I see. And then I think the other thing, Maria, is that it also has to be kept up with in terms of the hours worked in the grant.
Yes.
Should we decide to go with, for instance, somebody from the auditor as an example, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And so,
And usually, judging commissioners, what I've seen, right, in my experience, and Willacy can, surely explore it, is that an internal individual that has already been working with Office of the Governor grants would be identified and maybe placed in this position as a program director for Operation Lone Star, and or you hire someone at 100% from the outside to do it. But that's at your discretion. I mean, that the Office of the Governor doesn't preclude you to do either or, but you need someone. So.
And so that was my question from earlier, is so, but between now and Thursday at 5, that needs to be decided upon so that you can submit that in itself, or can it wait for further along the line?
I need an individual to be assigned as a program director for the grant by Thursday. Yes.
So,
I mean, you can include the individual's name, but at a later time you decide to change it, we can change it. But it has to be a county employee that is going to be assigned to be the program director of the grant. And
in your experience with what you have with the other counties, it's from the, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, it's from the auditor's office, or who? Where's it from, since counties?
Yeah, it's been generally from the auditor's office, yes, sir.
Maria?
I would have to pick someone, right? So,
But just so I'm clear here, so we have grants, right, that have enough money for a full-time position, as an example. So in this particular grant, it doesn't call for that, right? To where we can hire.
I'm sorry, what was your question, Judge, again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
In some of the grants that we have, right?
Yeah.
That it stipulates that there's enough for us to hire a full-time position, and I'm not sure, maybe even a part-time, that gets paid from the grant itself, right? And it's a yearly.
That's correct.
In this grant, can that also happen, or is it different?
Yes. No, you can assign 100% individual to administer this grant within the county, but it has to be a county employee.
But somebody that's already an employee, though, we can't hire an employee just for this.
if I can help with that, Judge, and so you can assign a program manager or director now, or program manager, I think is what it's called, and then you can always change out who that person is later. Like that doesn't necessarily have to stay the same person. So it could be somebody who's already hired by the county now, and then if the grant allows for you to hire somebody, that when that person is hired, then you would switch out the name of the person who's been hired to administer this grant.
Okay.
Correct.
To see it through, if we were to go through the auditor.
And Judge, if I may, if you already have individuals working Office of the Governor grants like Stone Garden or Border Crimes, those individuals are already in the system. So basically, you're probably already registered through grants, e-grants, right? Like You have an email registered that if you put your email, it populates that you're the authorized official, that the auditor is the financial officer. So you would just need someone like to be the program director, whoever that is, with like Stone Garden or any other grant you have. And then I would assume the grant writer position, the email for that requirement.
And currently that program director is named out within each department that applies for that grant. So
Okay.
In this one, Judge, it would be, this is a countywide grant, so it would be coming out of the judge's administration? Not necessarily.
It can be, ma'am.
Okay.
Is it Miss Serena?
Oh, Hinojosa.
Hinojosa, I'm sorry, Miss Hinojosa. Yes, that's correct, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's whoever the county feels is able to administer as a program director, right? It has to be a county employee. But again, like Ms. Hinojosa mentioned, it can be changed out at a later time with authorization from the Office of the Governor.
This would be set to kick off on FY 26, correct?
Is this grant for both years, or do you have to apply for it every year? Like for
Every year, Ms. Hinojosa, it's a yearly grant. Yes, ma'am.
Judge, are all
This one runs through August 31st, 2026. And then you'll be, but at that point in time, you already have some of the measures and objectives that you did in this upcoming year to be able to include in your grant application. If there's new areas of priority for the county that we didn't think of this year, but maybe next year we're like, oh, we forgot this, we forgot that. That's how it operates yearly to be able to make those adjustments. The other thing I did want to apprise the court of is that during the course of the grant, if for whatever reason we submit the budget and it's what we're anticipating for this grant to be able to help us with the resources, but like say halfway point in January of 2026, something comes up that we need some other resources in another budget line item because they're not being expended or we're not utilizing, we can submit amendments during the course of the grant to the Office of the Governor for approval to be able to move money from budget line item to budget line item.
everybody's agreed to the sounds, which is yourself and county attorney, district attorney?
The agreement itself?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There's a, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Doctor, but where the district attorney is giving it its blessings that also that in our case she's in favor of as well. I'm not sure.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm not sure if I read this in this recent one or sometime in the past, but
That's, I think you're correct, Judge. It's one of the grant requirements is to submit a letter from the county attorney indicating that any of those misdemeanors that are filed as a result of Operation Lone Star arrests would be prosecuted by the county attorney. That's part of what's required.
right.
Yes. And because of that additional workload that, well, I mean, I'm sure Ms. Hinojosa knows, but generally they do request additional resources for her office to be able to deal with the additional caseload and whatever may come her way so they can process those cases. If I'm not mistaken, Ms. Hinojosa.
No, you're correct.
Okay.
Right. And I asked the commissioner asked that question, and I remember I thought of asking it, and we're moving fast on this, so because we
The turnaround is pretty quick, but it's doable, and I really feel confident you'll have a competitive grant. If the Commissioner's Court decides to move forward with this grant, I would have to have this to you by Wednesday. of this week, so you can see the full application with narrative, with deliverables, measures, budget. But we would have to move fast today and tomorrow. Get the budget done. I'll meet with your counterparts, maybe virtually, but we can get it done. It's just a matter of being able to schedule everything accordingly and get it to you by Wednesday.
So I get the answer to the question, yes.
You need a motion?
Yes, sir.
If you are, I just wanted to tweak up the way we wrote it. If you are considering it, I would ask that you would, if you're considering a motion, the motion would be to consider hiring, or to, if you are, you're considering it right now, but if the motion would be then, if you're going to hire RBPS, is to be hiring RBPS, but that, so we'll need to spell that out, so it's, excuse me, I have it right here.
So
Rodriguez Professional Business Solutions, yes, no.
Yes. To write and submit grant application, and if approved, to provide services to overlook the Operation Lone Star grant for fiscal year 2026.
To be paid from matching.
Is that your,
That's my motion.
But to be paid from,
did you say to be paid from?
And also to be paid from,
The fee of the 20,
Right, I don't know where
From
you're
the
gonna
capital fund.
get it.
matching fund.
capital fund matching fund.
Capital fund?
capital
Yeah,
fund,
I think
matching
that
fund.
there's a,
Judge, and then are y'all gonna include, to approve the consulting agreement? Is it the,
Yes,
yeah,
because that's the
that
hiring,
is what it's for. Yeah.
it's the hiring of them. So you added to that, to be paid from capital fund matching funds?
From capital fund too.
Capital fund two.
I'll take care of that.
Okay.
So that's the
Got
motion.
that, is it?
Yes,
Capital fund two.
I second it.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Tejeda, second by Commissioner Garcia. Any more discussion? All in favor, well, before we go. So we also have it as a line item on Thursday, because that's where we declare. And just to be on the safe side, Dr. Rodriguez, what I also did, I put the exact line item that we have today on Thursdays, just in case that for whatever reason this one fell through, we would have another chance on Thursday, but that is nor here nor there. I have a motion in a second, we're about to take the vote. But we are clear with the declaration on Thursday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So I have a motion and a second. All in more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. So, Dr.
Thank you, and thank you for your trust and consideration of RPBS, and I'm sure we'll have a really good turnout on the submittal of the grant. So thank you again for your support.
Yes, sir.
So we'll be in communication, Judge. I'll call you later on this afternoon.
Okay. Thank you.
And the forms that are in the binder, if we could start getting those submitted, the one that I gave you, the binder, it has some forms that we need to submit or complete so we can submit. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
I see it. All right.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we go to item number 4, discussion approved to return district attorney's unexpected state appointment funds to be portion funds to be the state controller judiciary section from fiscal year 2024 action required.
Judge, on this one, I'm asking it to be tabled. I met with the auditor, and so we're going over that. It could be that nothing is gonna get returned, but if necessary, I'll bring it back. But I think the funds were gonna be expended, but this one was just, in case there wasn't. There were funds that we needed to return.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Tejeda, second by Commissioner Garcia. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Line number 5, authorization to apply for and if awarded, accept grants from the Border Prosecution Unit grant through the Office of the Governor. Approval of the District Attorney's Office resolution to apply for and accept if awarded Border Prosecution Unit grant through the Office of the Governor for the fiscal year 2026-2027. Action required.
Judge, this is our renewing Border Prosecution Unit grant. We've had it for many years already. And so we are asking to be able to apply for it. It's our same deadline as a OLS deadline, which is March the 13th. I'm working on getting that submitted. We are including in the grant, it's 100% paid for by the Governor's office. We are including, so we meet with the executive board for the Border Prosecution Unit, and I asked them to consider allowing me to hire an additional 2 staff members, and 2 individuals, an additional investigator, and also an additional paralegal, because I don't have legal administrative staff, legal assistant, and I only have 1 investigator. So now I would have 1 investigator for each of the prosecutors that are assigned to that. And so that was approved in part of our legislative appropriations request to the Governor's office. And with that, it includes the travel, all of the 100% of the salary, as well as another vehicle for the investigator, and then computers and everything that comes with it. So we did increase the amount that we were asking for, but so far it was approved internally. We've submitted it already to the Governor's office it's kind of a part of our budget request, but I still need to submit the grant. And so this is just so I can submit the grant.
Okay. Any motion?
So moved to approve it.
Second. I have a motion by Commissioner Tejeda, second by Commissioner Garcia. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 6, discussion and authorization to all district attorneys office to apply for victim coordinator and liaison grant, VCLG, through the Office of the Attorney General for fiscal year 2026-2027, and approve resolution action required.
So Judge, on that one, this is a new grant through the Attorney General's office. This is for a victim coordinator liaison grant. This allows me to ask for additional funds to be able to, it's 100% as well, and it's to supplement the salary for the coordinator. In this case, it wouldn't be necessarily a straight up 100% of, like, right now the salary of the coordinator, I want to say the total including fringes is at about 58,000. So the 30,000 wouldn't get them to 88,000. What it would do is it would alleviate how much of the grant that I currently apply for that does require a county match. So what I'm trying to do is find grants where I can lessen what the county's burden is. And so this one would be lessening the county's burden if approved. I did forward this to law enforcement because they can apply for it as well, but apparently we can only apply for it every 2 years. So this would be for those 2 fiscal years, 2026 and 2027. It would be a new grant though. The deadline on this one is March the 14th. But again, it's 100%, and it would be to lessen the amount that the county's burden would be on my victim assistance unit grant.
So it's 100% no matching.
It's to lower what we currently have as a match.
Because the current match is
To lower.
20%, so it would reduce that amount by that. Their portion of the salary would be covered through that.
The resolutions are included in the packet?
Yes, and Judge,
The date,
I'm sorry?
the date.
Oh, I'll need to correct that because I had put it for the 10th and then where's the special meeting, we moved it up. So I'll make sure and change that to
Okay.
the 10th. And Judge, on this one, the application stated that the individual signing the resolution could not be the authorized official. I don't know why that was. The recommendations were that it could be obviously the county judge or it could be the county auditor as an authorized official. So I included that as well. If there's any changes to the resolution, I can make those as well. There are only certain people that, the court could also assign if they wanted anybody. It just couldn't be any of the commissioners or the judge because you're the ones signing the resolution. You can't appoint yourself, apparently, authorized official. I didn't know that. This is the only grant that I ever heard that they don't allow that.
Yes, move to approve number 6.
Motion by Commissioner Diaz, second by Commissioner Fiorina. Any more discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign, motion carries. Item number 7, discussion and authorization to all district attorney offices to apply for other victim assistance grant, OVAG, through the Office of the Attorney General for fiscal year 2026-2027 and approve resolution action required.
Judge, it's almost identical to number 6, except this applies more towards training, supplies, equipment. So, or not like vehicles or anything like that. But again, it goes towards certain things that we already need in the office, and these would be 100% paid for from this grant instead of the one that's the county grant.
Move to approve, yes.
I have a motion by Commissioner Garcia to approve. Can we get in a second?
Second, Judge.
Second by Commissioner. More discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
So move to adjourn.
Second. Second by Commissioner Garcia. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner.